Today we're going to talk about why an XRP ETF boosts the price of XRP. And before we get into that, we'll right away get the Decent Wallet commercial for you. So here we go.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. It's just a few taps. You can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
All right, thanks for spending time with us today. Today we got a pretty cool video prepared for you. And Max, get us started.
Absolutely. All we ask you to do is smash that like if you haven't done so already. Let's get into the material and why it matters, why you're tuned in. So first thing we have is from the wonderful Smoke, great researcher, right? What he has for us is this right here, and he goes into a lot of detail, to say the least. So Smoke mentions specifically why is an XRP ETF important, of course, to price action. He says also, quote, the price of an asset is set in the derivatives market. Who is he quoting here? We're going to get into that. The other quote says, mature derivatives are essential for price discovery. And also, quote, in the derivatives market, buyers and sellers agree on a price. So he says, let's have a listen. It's not that long. We're going to go ahead and play this for you guys. And do you recognize the person that is from the CFTC, the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission? Listen to this, and we'll come right back. Here we go.
As I explained to your audience today, I see crypto as much more than just a new asset class, but really a new architecture of finance, a new way of establishing who owns what and who's transferring what to whom, using the internet as the basis for establishment of that value, as opposed to the individual balance sheets of proprietary institutions. It's a new architecture, a new protocol for establishing value. In any commodity market, the price of the underlying commodity is actually not set in the physical or the spot market. The price is set in the derivative markets. Mature derivative markets are essential for price discovery because it's the one place that all the buyers and sellers can come together to agree on price. That's why the price of gold is not set in a jewelry shop. It's set in the derivatives market. The price of wheat is not set at a grain elevator. It's set in the derivative markets. The price of oil is not set at the gas pump. It's set in the derivative markets. So establishing well-functioning, healthy derivatives for crypto will provide a solid basis for price discovery and price setting for crypto.
All right, so that was on a high speed. Smoke said it to that. You know, some of you guys might not like it at a little bit, 2x speed, but whatever the case be, the message was conveyed. There's a little bit more in regards to what Smoke has. I'm also going to pull it up on, of course, your screen. Again, why is it all important? So Smoke brings this up, and he mentions specifically that with the anticipated listing of several altcoin ETFs, 2025 could mark the year when altcoin transitions from speculative investments to foundational assets in investment portfolios. You got to keep in mind where he's going with this. I mean, at the end of the day, Smoke mentions that, a lot of people, let's face it, look at all this being speculative, and maybe it still is, and maybe for a while it will be. But this statement pounds home to me why there's a difference of, regulatory bodies at work, call it flip of the switch, call it whatever you want. It's statements like this. As we get further into this, I want to point out some other things. 2025 is the year XRP solidifies its place as a foundational asset in investment portfolios. This is why it's so significant to understand the importance of just that, ETFs. But XRP ETF is what we're talking about here. So in the highlight from Smoke, he goes on to mention that with catalysts such as Bitcoin being considered for strategic reserves of multiple countries, a more permissible regulatory environment for altcoins, and the anticipated listing of several altcoin ETFs, 2025 could mark the year when altcoins transition from speculative investments to foundational assets in investment portfolios. So again, with that said, we're going to kick it over to Will, because Will, the way I look at it is, it's like this. You know, for a lot of us, we want to be part of something that is the foundation moving forward. The flip of the switch doesn't get that flip unless you have the value and the trust. Your thoughts on Smoke's research, Mr. Will Fix?
Yeah. Now I agree with Smoke on the ETF raising the price, because it takes XRP and gives it a job and a duty that is other than cross-border transactions, which removes it from that pool. And many of our videos, we've discussed that. And for the different reasons that pull XRP, all of the reasons that pulls XRP away from the accessible pool of XRP for cross-border transactions, everything that does that is very bullish. That's why XRP can go to 10,000. When we discuss why it can go to 10,000, that is why it can, is XRP is given another job. Now, I do not agree necessarily with what Smoke has to say about the derivatives market controlling the price of assets. Yes, of XRP, that's not going to be the case. Because where he's focusing on like a normal asset, the people gathering at the derivatives market site to battle for the price, you know, people betting the market's going to go down, people betting the market's going to go up, and then there's those derivative contracts that are either making money or not making money, and those show up on the order books as potential orders, you know, and when you look at the order book, you can see the potential orders, so people can anticipate a movement in price based on what's coming down the order books. That's where the manipulation in markets comes in. They've suppressed silver for years that way. Now, here's what I believe why it will not work with XRP is because of that thing that I call the indiscriminate buyer. You have banks and institutions that will be purchasing, and you know, we use that term purchasing. They will be utilizing XRP to move large sums of money. They don't care what the price is, nor will it matter what the price is. What will matter is how much money is trying to come into the system to be moved, divided by the number of available coins. That's going to move the price, irregardless of the derivatives market, irregardless of the ETFs. So the main driver is going to be that huge money, where it's thousands of banks and institutions buying and selling huge whale amounts just in minutes and selling it minutes later. That action is going to drive the price of all XRP. So I'm interested to see what the derivatives market will do. As soon as I can buy calls on XRP, I'm going to buy leaps, which are 1 year away. And, you know, we will make a fortune off of leaps. And I just don't believe that the derivatives market, for those reasons, is able to control XRP. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, you know, you also pointed out a while back that there's a limited supply of XRP, roughly about, I think, slightly under 6 billion. So if you have derivatives market, you know, constantly buying, as you would mention, whale amounts of XRP, I think there's another thing that we should all talk about briefly, and that is supply shock, because that would be represented on chain, not just with, for example, this exchange or that exchange, pretty much all exchanges, because again, there would be just a very limited supply on that. So would that have more weight moving forward compared to the other discussion of, you know, some of the other things we're talking about with our videos? ETFs versus derivatives market. I think you have lockup, then you have supply shock, and then you have the whole thing of whale activity. I think all three of those would be like a trifecta, if you will, of significant price action. Am I too far off?
No, sir. No,
Well, with that, yeah, go
no.
ahead. So,
And the banks and institutions, when you see on the order, if we're to see on the order sheets, or on the where the market is made, um, when you look at those, if you were to see how many buys and sells were going to take place as far as the whales are concerned, doing purchases maybe several times a day, huge amounts of money. They're going to be moving trillions of dollars. I don't know. I can't imagine how that's going to affect just the average guy. It appears to me that the scenario is eventually going to price out retail, which makes it even more important to hang on as long as you can to some XRP, because as the price gets driven so far up, and then you see on the order books and you see in the derivatives market that they're just playing around with giant sums of money and orders. That's just not an area where the average guy can play, unless we're playing with drops instead of whole XRP, and we just, get to participate in those tiny little levels. But the amount of money that's going to be transacting by whales or banks and institutions will just be gigantic compared to the retail market. So I believe it's the banks and institutions and the utility of it that's going to drive the price really high, and then slowly just make, the amount of people purchasing in retail is going to be so small, it's going to affect it way less. So the derivatives on ETFs, I don't believe it's going to be as effective on price control as other assets are, because XRP is so different.
think about this for a second. We'll tell on ourselves. You and I mentioned that we should do a conversational piece. Well, let's have that conversation. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about Bitcoin, I shouldn't even call it Bitcoin, BTC, okay? It's like, well, what has existed multiple bull markets with BTC? 4-year cycles. And in those cycles, when we talk about retail, because we are talking about retail, well, most people don't own a full BTC. So as a result, they buy these little slivers. You mentioned droplets, when it comes to XRP. So would that create a mechanism moving forward where the dominance, let's face it, with Ripple XRP is shifted? People say this is, yeah, exactly. This is going to be the utility run. So again, BTC dominance shifts over to XRP dominance. And then you have people doing what you're mentioning, where they're purchasing these little, let's face it, instead of, slivers or whatever, it's the droplets moving forward. I think the answer is yes, but it's that FOMO money coming in, Will, especially when XRP has an incredibly high value. Just like at one stage, BTC didn't have that incredibly high value, but then over 4-year cycles, it definitely did. Why is that important? Well, the halving had something to do with that. But we can't apply that to Ripple XRP. To a degree we can, because regulatory clarity, regulations and so on, ETFs would lock up XRP. So to a sense, it's a different force, but it's a different type of lockup, which means more of a scarce asset. And when you compare it to BTC, that's, let's face it, a scarce asset. There's only 21 million. But again, back to what you were talking about in your videos, where in reality, the supply of XRP is slightly under 6 billion. So I don't think this analogy, you get where I'm coming from on this? I don't think we're too far off with supply shock, ETF lockups, and of course, the whole thing of whale activity.
Yeah, the derivatives, something I did notice is different Bitcoin ETFs have different prices. One might be, $12 a stock, and another one might be $30 or $40. And it is a direct correlation to the price of Bitcoin moving, in that ratio. So does that smaller figure. So a very forward thinker on the price of XRP will probably have the ETF price be very low, so that as it grows, and the reflected ETF price grows, if they started off at $5, a stock, or a dollar, a share. Say they started off at $1 a share, and then XRP goes from 260 to 540. Well, then it's $2 a share on the ETF. So in that way, ETFs that have derivatives, calls, and puts on them, that will kind of isolate and be that own little market over here by the side. But the big market on purchasing, the way the whole price of that ETF is going to go up isn't by purchasers of that ETF. It'll be by the banks and institutions utilizing the money. So it goes to 10,000, and we had a ratio. The other ratio, that ETF price might go to $500. So what I'm trying to say here is I think the ETF world with calls and puts will be its own world, and then not affecting the price as much, but only participating in the price that's being driven by the banks and institutions. Whereas the derivatives market around ETFs like silver controls the price of silver. So I hope I'm making myself clear in how that I see it. How that I see it is, there's no way the ETF can control the price, because let's say they were manipulating the price to try to keep it low, and that worked, well, then there wouldn't be, if the banks and institutions double what they're doing, then there's not enough XRP to do the job, and this market over here was controlling the price, then it wouldn't be able to accomplish it. So you wouldn't have any XRP available, because if they can't drive the price up for the utility, then utility can't happen. So utility is going to drive the price. The derivatives are going to be able to participate, but they are not going to control the market like a normal asset. I just reject that idea completely. If you agree with that and you see it that same way, put a "I agree" in the comments. If you disagree, tell me you disagree, but also tell me why, because I could be missing something. Sometimes it's easy to brain gap a particular idea. So put "I agree" or "I disagree" in the comments if you see it the way that I just explained it.
Okay, I will state this, all right, for the record. It's not just because you're my friend and we do research together. I do agree with you. Here's why I agree with you. It's because if we're trying to get away from volatile assets and having a sense of, clarity moving forward for who? Right, institutions, the central banks and so on, right? Whether we're fans of them or not. They don't want to have all that extreme volatility. So again, that would pound home that much more your hypothesis moving forward. It can't be exclusive to one market. So if the derivatives market is going to create control, no, that's not your clarity moving forward. You can't have one market that is going to create extreme control or volatility moving forward. Like, oh, we're going to pass regulatory clarity, and everybody's excited about it, but oh yeah, there's just one market where we have this problem. Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. So yes,
Yeah,
I would agree with what you're saying.
yeah, and this is why I've said, even last year, people were talking about, well, I don't want derivatives because it'll control the market. Look at Bitcoin. Well, yeah, that can happen with Bitcoin, but it's a world of difference than compared to XRP. XRP is not like any other asset. in that way. If the derivatives market could suppress the price, then the derivatives market could ruin the idea of real liquidity in the cross-border transactions. But we know it was designed for cross-border transactions first, but not because of the design, but because of how it works. That market's going to control the price of XRP, not the retail market, not ETFs, and not derivatives. That market, again, is going to control the price, and the derivatives will get to participate, winning and losing in what happens, but they're not going to be able to control the price because that, well, not because of that, but that if they did, it would ruin the entire platform. But there's not enough money over there. There's far more money in banks and institutions in the world trade system.
All right. This is good conversational piece. So would it create the illusion that moving forward, think about this. I know there's a lot of speculation here, everybody, but would it create the illusion that the derivatives market is now the dominating force, even without technically doing control that you were talking about?
Well, it is in normal assets. The derivatives market does form the price of an asset. And the silver market is the best explanation of that. Silver's been was $50 an ounce many years ago. It's been suppressed. Its true value is probably hundreds of dollars an ounce. But the banks, you can see where the different large banks actually take turns on who's buying what derivative. And they're causing buying and selling to help each other's derivatives make money. In other words, this bank over here buys so much shorting silver that everybody's like, God, that bank's sure the price is going to go down. Okay, so they've shorted silver, so now if it goes down, they make money. So then the other bank realizes that and says, we're going to dump all of our silver. They dump all of their silver. These derivatives get worth more money. They sell the derivatives, right? Then with all their profit, they buy silver at the lower price. The other one buys it at the lower price. They drive it back up. Then they switch sides. And you can actually track that. So that kind of suppression won't work with XRP because the big transactions are going to be for cross-border. The ETFs aren't going to play with that much money.
Think about what you just mentioned. I mean, this is awesome. So the way I gather this, and everybody hear us out on this, without even purposely explaining in our outline with what Will is mentioning, with the findings, obviously smoke in our conversation, to me, in my humble opinion, you are literally talking about a utility run. That's the utility run. Think about it, Will.
Absolutely. Flip of the switch.
That is the utility run. That's the conversation that needs to be discussed more moving forward. So with that said, here's the icing on the cake as a last update for you guys, because I meant to include this. I don't want to highlight this from smoke. Bottom part of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, what does it say in the highlight from Solid Intel? Intel, Brazil set to launch world's first spot XRP ETF 2 hours ago. That is a big deal moving forward. So we'll let that sink in for you guys. Glad to do a little bit of different format with Will, having a little conversational piece. We literally just talked about doing this. So let us know what you guys think. Do you guys like these conversations other than just, here's Max, here's Will, here's his take, here's mine, taking turns? Let us know what you think. Maybe we'll do at least one every so often, or maybe we ramp it up. But whatever the case be, let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. That's the code word, basically. Agree or disagree. And we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Will Fix, know what you have, know what you hold it. The research trumps FUD, 110%. We'll see you on to the next one.